So The Exorcist was released in 1973 and made such a huge splash in the American film-going world. People would stand on lines that wrapped around the block at movie theaters for hours to get in to see that film. And the reason they wanted to see it wasn't that it was supposed to be fun, but it was supposed to be so viscerally upsetting and so hard to watch. They would throw up in the theaters. There's rumors that people had heart attacks in the theaters. There's a rumor that one guy left the theater and then went to a church stripped naked and made a confession. And the going line is that the reason the film affected people so much is because of the supernatural stuff. But if you watch that film paying attention to Ellen Burstyn's character, Chris, you have a very different experience. Her body gets beat up, she gets psychologically tortured, she gets manipulated. I don't know if there is a greater torture you can put a woman through than imperiling her child. And really what the film is doing is it's making us think about domestic violence through this allegorical lens of demon possession. Because from Chris's vantage point, this demonic male monster enters her home and essentially holds her and her daughter hostage by physically and sexually abusing in various ways both of them. But the scene that I think is the most revelatory when we're thinking about The Exorcist as a film about domestic violence is the scene when Chris, Ellen Burstyn's character, goes to see Father Damien. And her clothing there is so iconically referring to domestic violence. She wears a trench coat with the collar turned up. She wears a scarf around her head and these big dark glasses. As she takes them off, you can see this huge contusion on her cheekbone. So she is literally like embodying the iconography of the battered wife. And I am 100% sure that women who viewed this film, who were in situations of domestic violence at the time, saw themselves reflected in Ellen Burstyn. And one of the interesting things about the conversation Ellen Burstyn has with Father Damien is that this would have been something that women did all the time in the era before there were clear laws prohibiting domestic violence, right? And this film is made at a moment, 1973, when anti-domestic violence legislation is just starting to gel. Domestic violence shelters are just starting to be created for the first time ever, mostly by grassroots feminist movements and organizations. So the film is representing a reality that faced many, many victims and survivors of domestic violence, which is that a woman having no recourse really to the law necessarily. No one is going to help her at the police station. She goes to a priest for help. And oftener than not, when women went to see priests for help, they did not in fact get help. And that's what happens with Ellen Burstyn too. I mean, ultimately Father Damien goes and kind of sacrifices himself to try and alleviate her suffering. But initially he says no to her. He says he can't help her. And that I think is an experience many, many, many women had throughout that period and up to today.